Alright team, so in today's class we will see a different thing what we have saw in our previous class. Like in our previous class I have explained you a different form of if. Now see how do we use else if clause. Alright, so in today's class we will see else if clause. It's very short and very simple, I would say. So let's say let me take a same example what I have taken in our earlier class, the example in which if the percentage of a person is greater than 60, then it's the first division, and if it's greater than 50, then it's second division, and if it's greater than 40, then it's a third division, else fails. I'm going to take the same example, right? So let me write a program first and then I will explain you. It's a very simple program. I just want to explain in a very simple manner how if clause or how else if clause works actually, right? So let me finish it up first. So it would be like um, void main, okay, and then inside this curly braces let me declare some variables like m1 m2. This is for my marks m1 m2 m3 m4 comma and m5, right? And now inside this yeah, one more thing, I need to calculate percentage also, so I need per variable also, and inside this percentage if I say per is equal to the sum of all the marks m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus m4 plus m5 divided by percentage, and here let's say I got a percentage uh, of the student, right? So after that if I write like if, right, so let's say this would be 5 for example, right? So here if I say if percentage is greater than or equal to 60, right, then print f this is my first division for example. All right, else if percentage is greater than or equal to 50, then printf what, second division. Alright, else if percentage is greater than or equal to 40, then printf what, third division. Alright, else what, printf fail. Alright, it's a very simple program, and this program demonstrates how actually this else if work. Now here you can see few things. First of all, I have used else if, which not only reduce my my program in a very simple lines, in a very simple statement, it reduced the complexity of my program, it reduced the indentation of the statement, right? And in this case every else is associated with this previous if, right? So if I write like this, every else if is associated with its previous if condition, right? So if all if condition fails, even then this last statement gets printed, right? If my first condition, for example, if percentage PER is greater than 60 qualifies, then it will print first division. If this goes fails, then it will print second division. If this goes fails, then it will print third division. And if this also goes fail, then only it will print my last statement, which is fail. Right. So here we have noticed few things, like the last statement will execute only when my all previous conditions fail. Right. So in this way we can use the else if condition. Alright, so basically it's used for removing the complexity, or just to prevent the complexity of the program. And it also gives them some facility to uh, don't care of this curly braces and all. So it will help to indent their program also, right? So else if is quite useful to use while doing any sort of program, right? Now come to our very good operator, which we use sometime, but sometimes this sounds a bit confusing also. So let me introduce a new operator what we have not learned yet, and that is this one. This is what we called as a not operator, right? So far we have used only the logical operator, which is this and or operator, which is like this, right? Now this third logical operator is the not operator, which represent like this, okay, exclamation in another word, right? But this is in programming terms, this is we called as a not operator. This operator reverse the result of any expression what we have. For example, if I express any value which comes as a result of 1, then if I write not before that, then it will convert the 1 into 0, right? So in short, if I say if the expression evaluate to a non-zero value, then after applying this not operator, the result into a 0, and vice versa. Okay. Now if the expression evaluate to 0, then on applying the operator it will make it as 1, right? So if the result of a particular expression is a 0, then if I apply the not, then it convert to 1, and vice versa. Alright. So the final result after applying this not operator, 0 or 1, is considered to be a false or true respectively. Okay, so let's see an example of the not operator applied to relation operator. I'm sorry, to a relational expression, right? So for example, as an example, if I say I have an expressions like y is smaller than 10. All right, this means not y is less, this means y is less than 10, right? And if I represent like this, I mean if I just add not before a y or this expression, then what does it mean? It means that not of y is less than 10, means this will be equal to like this if I write like y is greater than 10. Alright, because here the value of expression, this where I have written y is smaller than 10, will be goes opposite if I write not before this expression. So not of this expression would be y is greater than 10, right? So where we use this not operator, the not operator is oftenly used to reverse the logical value of a single variable, right? As we have seen in this expression, if I want to reverse the operation of this value what we have, if y is smaller than 10 for example, and if I want to reverse this expression, then in that case we use this not operator. Alright, so team, if not operator seems a bit confusing, then I also recommend not to use not operator in your program, if unless there is a very very importance of a not that you can't you don't have any workaround of doing in your program without not operator, right? So I also recommend to avoid this not operator because sometimes it's a bit confusing, or it may makes your program some complexity also. Let's see some cautions what we need to take before writing any program, and if I'm using some if conditions and all, right? So there are some cautions which we need to follow. For example, if I say let me say, if I write like this, void main and then integer I, print f, enter value of I, value of I, and after that if I scanf this and oops, inside, let me increase the font, it's very small, I guess. Yeah, now it's clear. It's created problem for me also sometimes, right? So enter the value of I, and if I write like percentage d comma and percent I, right? And here if I write like if I equal to 5, then printf you enter 5. All right, like this, right? And after that if I write else, uh, inside this else if I write like print f you have entered other than 5. Okay, team, I'm just demonstrating you a very simple thing what we generally make mistake uh, whenever we write a very simple program sometimes. So here if I write like, okay, if I take an input from a user, okay, and please enter some value for I, and if I give an input like 123 for example, right? So what would be the expected result that I'm expecting? It should print you have entered other than 5, right? Because this condition, ideally this condition not matches, and it should print you have this condition won't match, and it will print you have entered other than 5, but it will going to print this statement you have entered 5, right? Now again if you try to write like some other value, and if I expect that it will print that you have entered other than 5, then no, again it will print what? It will print you entered 5. Now question is why? Okay, surprise? Yes. See, here we have a very common mistake. Here we are not comparing the value, we are assigning here, right? Single equals to means we are assigning some value, and 2 times equals to means we are comparing. And in C, always note that truth is always a non-zero value, right? Means in C, truth is always a non-zero value. means the value will satisfy if and it will give the result as a true. Now, which means false statement is always a zero statement. Okay, uh, let me write here, which means, or I can say, falsity is always zero. Now question is, why this program will print you entered 5 even I have entered some other value, like I have entered 999. The answer is, since I am not comparing the value of what I have here, we are assigning some value, and here the value of I is non-zero, which means this value is true, because non-zero value is always a true value, and hence it will print you have entered 5. Control will never go from here to here, because in the mid conditions of if satisfies, this will never happen. Alright, that's why we need to take care of single equals and double equals. Right, double equals means I repeat, double equals means we are comparing, and single equal means we are assigning the value. So here we are assigning the value 5 to I. Alright, now we have another very common mistake. What we generally do is, like for example in this case, let me write down a few part of this program here again. It's like if I write like if I is equal to 5 and then print f you entered 5. Alright, and then again I have some conditions like you have not entered 5. Okay, now same rest all the things are same as in my previous program. Right, now again if I entered any number, for example 999, then what happened? It will again print my same text, which is you entered 5. Now why? Let me make it like there's a small mistake here. Let me, this should be like this, because I want to correct this time program, and then I will explain you, because after correcting this again it will not give me the result as per my expectation. So here, as we learned, we need to write like this only. Right, now again if I try to execute this program and give the input as 5, it will print what? You have entered 5, which is correct. Right, now if I entered some other number, for example 9, then I'm expecting that it will print you have not entered 5, but surprisingly it will again print the same statement that you have entered 5. Now why? Because if you see here, if the condition evaluate to true, right, even then if I use this semicolon, it will be like if I have written like this. If uh, I equal to 5, and then it will work like I have something in my second line which is a semicolon, and then here I have written you have entered 5, right? Now here if the condition evaluates to true, right, the semicolon, which is a null statement, does nothing on execution, right, and it will give me result that okay, the printf you have entered 5. If the condition fails, right, I have, like for example, I have given a input of 9, right? So in case my input is 9, then the straightway the printf gets executed, which is again the printf you have entered 5, right? Thus irrespective of whether the condition evaluate to true or false, this printf is bound to get executed. Alright, remember that a compiler would not point out this as an error, since as far as the syntax is concerned, nothing has gone wrong here, but the logic was clearly gone away. Moral is beware of such type of pitfalls while doing some programs, right? Now let's see one of the very interesting operators what generally we ask in interview also. It's a very pet question that what is a ternary operators, right? So here I'm going to explain the ternary operator. It's very easy, only the way of writing is a bit different. Okay, now what is this ternary operator, by the way? In this ternary, and why it's called as a ternary? Because in this ternary we are using three expressions, just because of this reason, right? So how do it look like? It look like we used to write some expression. Okay, let's say expression 1. If this condition satisfies, oops, then execute expresion, execute expression number 2, else perform what? expresion expression 3, right? So what does it says? It says that if expression 1 is true, that is if the value is non-zero, remember in C the non-zero element is true, then the value written will be expression 2, alright, otherwise the value written will be 3. Okay, let us understand this with the help of a few examples. For example, let me write like example integer x comma y, right? And here if I say, if I got a value from a user, it's like percentage d and percent x, for example, right? And we have we have a value in y would be like if x is greater than 5, then print 3, else 4, right, and semicolon. Now what does this statement do? This will store the value 3 in 5 if the value what user has been entered is greater than 5. For example, if I entered 7 here, right, then my this condition will get satisfied. X is greater than 5, which is 7 is greater than 5, yes, then it will store 3 in my y. So it will print what? Y, which is equal to 3. And in case if I enter let's say 2, which is not greater than 5, so my this condition fails, or I can say my this condition fails, hence my this is not going to print and my 4 value get satisfied, and the value of 5 would be print 5, which is equal to 4 in case of 2, right. Now here we need to consider one more thing, like one more important thing, like it's not necessary that the conditional operator that what we have used just now is used only in arithmetic statements. Okay, for an instance, let's say I have declared integer I, then scanf percentage d, and then comma some value which is going to store in this I, and on this basis of I, if I say if I equal to 1, here I am comparing, not assigning. Printf, if I equal to 1, then printf what? It's 1, alright, else it will print what? Let's say not 1, right. So here we can see that I am printing some value on the basis of my value of I, right. So it's not necessary that these ternary operators can be used only for arithmetic expressions. It can be used for some other purpose also, for printing some values also, or anything what we can do with if else condition, right. So one more thing here, we can use this ternary operator as a nested format also. Okay, like how? For example, if I say integer y comma a comma b comma c, and if I want to make some complex ternary operator, I would be uh, writing like this: if a is greater than b, then inside this again I will check if a is greater than c, and if this condition satisfies, then I will say okay, uh, give me 3, otherwise it will be 4. Let me increase the font size, it seems not clear. Yeah, is a colon actually, maybe it's not clear. Let me, yeah, now it's clear. Okay, so here I am again doing some nested operations here, and after satisfying of this condition I am checking another one, like if b is greater than c, then give me 6 else 8, right. So here I am checking another condition within else part also, and then I am closing my actual ternary operator, right. So here I am checking one more condition within this if and else condition. Is the same way how we check in our else if nested condition, right? So in the same way we can use this type of operator. Team, in actual word, in what you say, when we are going to write an actual program, we not going to use this type of ternary operators, because it will gives us only one result, right? This is the biggest limitation of this conditional operator, right? So what's the limitation? The limitation limitation of the conditional operator is that after the this question mark or after the semicolon colon, only one statement can occur. But in real world, when we are going to write an actual program, then we need to execute multiple number of statements. So in practical life, we won't prefer to use this ternary operator. This is just for your information purpose only, right? Now let's revise what we have learned as of now in this conditional operation class. So we have learned that there are three ways of taking decision in our program. Number one is we use if else statement. All right. This is our number one. Number two is we can use our conditional operators. And number three is we can use switch statement. Team, I am going to use, or I can take a separate class of this switch statement in my upcoming class, right? We also learned that the default scope of if statement is only the very next line. Very next statement is the default line of, or you can say default scope of the if statement. So to execute more than one statement, there must be written in a pair of braces, right? For example, I have already explained you, if I have some statement, and after that if I want to print anything, then by default the very next line, or if I say here I am going to print A and B, so once this condition satisfy, A will print by default. If this condition won't satisfy, then it will go to print B, right? This is I have explained you earlier in a detailed way in my previous class. Alright, I am just revising you. I am just giving you a summary of what I have explained you as of now. Now second thing is, an if block need not always be associated with an else block. Means we can write any if condition without else, but we can't write else block without any if condition. Okay, now in C, every test expression is evaluated in terms of zero or non-zero values. Okay, I have explained you that in C, a zero value is considered to be a false. Let me write it down. Okay, so a zero value is considered to be a false value. Okay, and a non-zero value is considered to be a true value. Means if I'm getting a expression which gives me an output of 1, then it consider as a true value, right? If the output is 0, then it will be considered as a false, right? Alright, so team, this is all about conditional operations. In my complete 3 class, I have explained you most of the things, and with this class, or I can say with this video, I will send you some assignments also, some exercise which you can try to solve it by your own, and give me the result to my email ID, and I will evaluate and give you the output of what you did and how you have performed in the exercise and all, right? So thank you so much. Thanks for watching. We will try